Good morning. So today is paint day. Matt got up early this morning and has done a coat of paint on the ceiling, and he's done a whitewash on the back wall. And then as the ceiling is almost dry, we're going to go back in and do another coat on the ceiling so that I can get the Impera Italia primer on the back wall and let that dry whilst we paint everywhere else. There's a lot of painting to do today. So we haven't touched any of this, but you can see the back wall that we've done there, and then the ceiling. We're going to try and get as much done today as we can because tomorrow we've got to pop out somewhere. I also want to go shopping and get some accessories, and then we've got a really busy week this week. Matt's away working, so I'm not going to get a chance to do much in the day, and then next weekend we've got a wedding, and then the weekend after we're away, so we really want to try and get as much done as we can today. So I'll flip you around, show you our progress, and go from there. So I've zoomed you out, so the video quality is not the best, but this wall obviously we haven't touched yet, or this one. We've kind of cut in around most of it. We are just going in with just plain white emulsion. We've done a back coat on here. To be honest, I don't think we need to do that with the Impera Italia because their primers are really quite thick, but because it was quite a bold colour underneath and we want it to be as light as possible, we thought it's not going to do us any harm by having another coat of white paint on there. So that's what we've done. And then you can see the ceiling has had one coat, so that definitely needs another. My camera looks really bad in this, but there we go. So this is our progress so far, and like I say, we're just literally letting this dry, and then we're going to go back in, do the ceiling again, and then whilst that dries we'll do a whitewash everywhere else, and then hopefully this wall will be dry enough for me to do the coat of primer, and then that needs to dry for about 3 to 4 hours. So whether I'll get a chance to do the Impera Italia paint today, I don't know. It might be a long day if I do, but either way I'm going to show you our progress, how we get on, what technique we're going to use, and show you the colour that we've finally chosen as well. So we are just getting the panels out, and we're going to place them in the hallway where we're thinking of having them, just to see what they look like before we go in with our Impera Italia paint. There you go. We've also taken the radiator off the wall to strip behind it, and then we're just going to work out where the panels are going to go, and then we'll pop the radiator back on. But yeah, we just took that off to get behind it and sort all of that out. So our first step is to take all the panels out and just work out exactly how many we want in this space. We were originally planning on about 2.5 to 3, but when we put them on the wall, it just felt really dark. So we decided on 2. Okay, so we've got our Jimson paint from Impera Italia, and we've gone for the colour Pearl White. It's the lightest colour that they do. So you get the primer, you need to water that down, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then this is the paint that we've got. So this is 2 kilos, so 1 kilo does about 5 square metres. So that should be enough for the space that we're covering. Then you need one of these, it's one of their brushes to apply it, and then also a tobacco sponge. So I'll show you what you need these 2 for and what they both do when we get onto the paint. But the first job is to prime it. So the first step is to go over and masking tape everything up. I always masking tape before I paint, whether it's standard paint or whether, can you hear Ada in the background? Thanks, Ada. Or whether it's Impera Italia, anything like that, I always use masking tape. I'll be completely honest with you. We've used frog tape in the past. I don't rate it. So this is just bog standard masking tape. I think it's from Screwfix or B&Q. You can't go wrong with it. Don't pay the extra, in my opinion. it up for me because I can't reach. But on this wall, I've only gone to like here because we're going to put the paneling on. So there's no point in me doing all of that. But all of this has been primed. Matt's just doing the cutting in, and then I will show you how to apply the primer on this bit here. So you have to water the primer down by 30%. So I've put 300 mils in my 1 litre pot. So it does make it really runny. However, it goes on really, really well. I am just using a normal roller and just covering all of the wall with it. We did cut in slightly, but to be honest, I don't really think you needed to because it went on really, really well with the roller. So the primer is all done. It went on really, really easily. And now we've literally opened all the doors and windows to get it dry. So it says on the pot, it will dry between 1 and 3 hours. And I just want to help that along a little bit because Ada is at Nanny and Grandad's today. So the more I can get done today, the better. So it's been on now for about half an hour and it is starting to look like it's drying. So we'll let that dry. As that's been drying, we've just done a whitewash on this wall. We haven't touched there because that's where the panels are going to go. And then we still need to do this wall here. But my main focus today is to get as much Impera Italia paint gypsum done as possible. So we're just going to sit. Luckily, it's nice outside today. It's the middle of October. It's really blustery, but it's still actually quite nice and warm and sunny. So hoping that'll aid it along its way to dry, and then we can apply that. So I will do a separate video on how to apply the Impera Italia paint and what I did to get this effect. But as you can see from this little time lapse, I'm literally just using the brush in a crisscross motion, and honestly it just creates the most gorgeous effect. So if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when my next video goes live, and that will literally show you a step-by-step of the whole process. So a hallway update. This is how we are looking so far. I've got loads to fill you in on. Obviously you can see that we have done the Impera Italia. I have done all of this wall, and I have done this wall as well. Obviously we've got the panel in front of that. I'm going to do a separate video in how I applied that, the different techniques that you can use, etc. It is honestly one of the best paints I have worked with. The consistency is beautiful. I absolutely love the effect. My camera just doesn't do it justice. It actually looks really warm in this light, and it is, but that makes it look a bit more goldy. But honestly, we both love it so much that we originally planned to have it on this wall and this wall. But we now want to do the whole hallway in it because it is just beautiful. We walk into the hallway and it just feels so lovely and warm and inviting, and we're obsessed. So I show you. As you can see, it's all down this wall. How on earth have I got a spider that's moved in already? It's amazing, isn't it, how that happens? So all of this wall is done. Obviously these ones aren't. This one is. And then we haven't touched down here because of the panels, but we are now contemplating putting it all over. We thought in the beginning that we wouldn't do that because it might have been a bit too much, but it really isn't. It is absolutely stunning. Obviously, this was sent to me from my Instagram account. So it has been gifted, but they have given me a discount code, which is little10. That will save you 10% off your order. It is pricey, but having used it and seen what it is capable of doing, I completely understand the whole reason for the price. So obviously if you are thinking of using it, please make sure you use my discount code to save yourself 10%. Every little helps. So with the Impera Italia, like I said, I am going to do a separate video on the application that shows you exactly what you need to do to apply this paint and the way that we've applied it to get this effect. But I just thought I would let you know on this video that we used a crisscross motion. I spent so long watching people's Instagram stories. I tried to find some videos on YouTube, there weren't that many, because there are so many different ways that you can apply this paint to get different effects on there, that I wasn't quite sure which effect to go for. So we went for a crisscross effect using their brush. You also get a tobacco sponge, and if you use that, it will remove the brush marks, so you can like push it on and twist, or you can rub it in circles up and down, whatever. That removes the brush marks to give it a smoother appearance, but we actually found that it dulled it down quite a bit and we see more of the glitter with the brush strokes, so we decided to not bother with the sponge. We much preferred the effect without it, so that is what we have done there. But like I say, I will pop another video on soon for you guys with the full process on how we applied the paint and how easy it was. Like I say, genuinely, I thought it would be really difficult. I don't like painting particularly, I find it really boring, but applying this, I could do this all day. I love it. So our next job, we have started installing the wooden panels. So these are the Accu panels from the Wood Veneer Hub. We have gone for the walnut colour. I absolutely love these. It was a toss up between these and the oak ones, and we decided to go walnut just to give it a bit of depth. We put it up yesterday, well, at night time, and we were like, oh my God, it looks really, really dark. I'm just not sure. Then Matt went away and he was like, no, I don't think I like it. What do we do? But now we've done the rest of the painting on this wall and it's come to daylight again. We absolutely love them, and I love the little contrast that they have together. So we did a practice, well, I say a practice piece. We didn't film anything when we installed this piece because it was our first time, didn't really know exactly what we were doing, wanted to get the hang of it before we showed you. But that has been stuck now to the wall. So we did cut it down a little bit. If I show you on this one, you see that bit there? It's like a felty, well, no, it's not felty. I don't really know what it's like. It's like this weird backing that's like material. And we did cut it down so we had a bit of black the other end, but we just couldn't get a nice neat finish on that. So we decided to cut that off. But that is now attached to the wall, literally just a few screws in. And Matt has cut that to size. What we found, because we've got an older house, that door frame actually isn't straight. It's on the wonk ever so slightly. Don't know if you can tell up here. It's not that bad, but so that was probably the most difficult part of getting that panel on. Obviously, if you're in a nice new build house with all nice straight walls, it would be an absolute doddle. But we wanted to just practice with that one so that we knew that what we were doing before we moved on to here. So Matt got a bit carried away and has put this one on as well. And then we are going to install this one. Let me move down here. So I will show you what we do to install that, how we cut it down, the whole process, how we attach it to the wall, etc. So you can see absolutely everything that goes into it. We obviously have got a little bit of a tricky one here because that is where the radiator sits. So we will have to cut it around that. So again, I will document all of that. So it's probably the best one to show you really. So we'll get cracking on that now. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit so you can see what we're looking like. And then I'm going to crack on, get this on the wall, and I'll film and document all of that. There we go. So I've zoomed you out a little bit so you can kind of see. I don't like it when you zoom the camera out because it just gives you, it just doesn't do it justice, does it? But those are where the panels are. So we've got two there, which is almost half the wall, and then the one here. And then this is a bit of a close-up of the paint, which is just my absolute favourite. So I will apologise for the filming here because Matt filmed it in the wrong format, but hopefully you will still be able to see. But the first step is to measure the wall. Now obviously we've already applied the panel next to it, but it is so important to make sure you measure the next bit of wall. In case you live in an older house like us, the walls aren't always very straight and your measurements can be different. So that is step number 1. So once you're happy with your measurements, we then took it outside, lay it down, and Matt is just measuring up and marking out where he needs to cut. So we're just cutting the one end to make sure that it sits flush to the ceiling and flush to the skirting board. We also then need to mark up where we need to cut out around the radiator bracket. So to make the cut, we just used a circular saw and then a pair of scissors to tidy up the felted background and just give it a light sand to make sure it's all nice and smooth and it would sit flush. Once he's done that, he then just drills in some holes, which is where he's going to use the screws to attach it to the wall. So then we move on to the cut for the radiator bracket. He just remeasures everything, marks up on the panel exactly where he needs to cut, and then just make sure it's all level by using his spirit level. And then to make the cut, he just props some wood pieces underneath to lift it up off the floor, which makes it a lot easier to cut. And he's using a jigsaw for this. It's a lot more controlled and it's much easier to cut out something like that. So I would highly recommend that if you are having to do something similar. Once all the cuts are done, it's then time to bring it in and just make sure it's all perfect before we attach it to the wall. So as you can see, Matt is just leaning it up against the wall, making sure it's all nice and flush and straight at the ceiling. Also that it's nice and flush to the skirting board and that it sits perfectly next to the other panel. And then he's also just checking that the piece we've cut out for the radiator bracket sits perfectly. Then once he's happy that it's all in the right place and it's ready to go, he's using some black plasterboard screws to attach the panel to the wall. Obviously he's already drilled out the drill holes for where it will go, so it's just a case of attaching it to the wall and it's as easy as that. So we popped some screws in at the top, we also popped some in the bottom near the skirting board, and then to just make sure that it is properly attached, we just pop some in the middle as well. They are black so that they blend in with the black felting, so if you are using the same product, I would definitely recommend going for black screws as well so that they don't stand out easily. Alternatively, if you've got a lighter background, then a lighter colour would be perfect. Ta-da! It's on, it's done. I hope that video was helpful in showing you how easy they are to get on. I've got TV behind me, I've got TV down here, honestly. So anyway, this has been put on. Those screws are black plasterboard screws. So that's all attached, all cut round the radiator cover. We're going to pop the radiator back on now, and then I'm just going to have a little play around because we need to go and buy some accessories for this space. So we're going to have a mirror here, I would love a console there with, I've got some beautiful Pampers that I won in a giveaway, which I think would look really nice on a console dinner, but Matt was like, no, Ada will be crawling soon, she might pull herself up on it, and he does have a point. So I think for now we might just stick with the radiator cover, and then when she's a bit older, maybe go for something a bit more fancy there. But yeah, we're gonna have a little play around, pop the radiator cover back in, see what everything looks like, see what accessories we need to go and buy. We definitely need a mirror for there. And then yeah, so I will take you along with us. I will show you how we style it all, what we buy, etc, etc. I'm going to end this video here, guys. I hope this was really helpful. I know this video has been quite long and you probably want a break by now, so I'm going to leave it there. But I will see you for the next instalment soon on how we finally bring this space to life. We are planning on getting a few nice different accessories for here and just kind of really bringing our vision to life. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope this has been helpful. As always, feel free to drop me a comment or feel free to drop me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions. I will do my best to answer them for you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when my next video goes live.